There's a terrifying rule that every motorcyclist learns the hard way. Whatever hazard that you're looking at is exactly the thing that you are going to hit. Welcome back to Full Time Freedom. I'm Melissa Hussong, and in today's episode, I'm going to be sharing a story about the time that I almost crashed my motorcycle as a brand new rider. I did manage to save it at the very last moment. It was very scary, but I think looking back, it was really necessary to shift my focus away from looking at things that I didn't want to hit to looking where I wanted to go. And at the end of this episode, I'm going to share with you a house update and the best ways that I'm vibing out this week that is really giving me freedom. Kickstands up, let's go. My intention for this episode is to entertain with motorcycle stories and demonstrate that when you focus on what you don't want, when you focus on what you want instead of what you don't want, you start to automatically move towards the good things in life that give you more freedom and joy. So, what's the story here? Well, at the moment, I've had an injured right wrist, so I haven't been able to ride my motorcycle for 5 months. But that has given me plenty of time to focus on things like moving my body, getting healthy, staying in a really good mental health state, cleaning up my finances, and recording podcast episodes. While I've been doing all of these things, it occurred to me a lot that where we are putting our focus in the world is where we get results. And time again, I just come back to this story of when I first started riding motorcycles, that when you are focusing on things that you don't want, that's actually what you're going to manifest into your life. And I remember this near miss moment. I had just started riding motorcycles. It was like 2018, and I lived in Minnesota at the time. I just started riding. So picture this: little me riding a Suzuki DR200, and it's black, it's gorgeous. It has these cute little matching bark busters on the handlebars, and I was just obsessed. So at the time, I was riding in like black leather jacket, black jeans, black boots, black helmet. So like head to toe black, all of it, black on black. And loving life, but I was also incredibly insecure as a rider. I felt as a new rider, as a female rider, that I don't know, that like things were stacked against me. I had a lot of fear at the time about not being able to ride, being unsafe, all of these things hitting, situations that just go through your mind when you're in that fear state. So I decided to learn to ride well, and that meant riding often. I wanted to practice. So picture me, I'm black on black. I'm in Roseville, Minnesota, where I lived at the time, and I'm at this intersection. Luckily, it was kind of in like a industrial area, like County Road C near the Walmart there. Like if you know that area, it was not like super busy. It was kind of tucked in the back, and I'm just like chilling. I think it's a weekend. I'm at this intersection. I'm turning left, and light goes green, going ahead, and I see as I'm turning, I'm like start to fixate on this light post kind of kitty corner to where I'm going, like across the street there. And I'm staring at it, like literally repeating in my head, don't hit the curb, don't hit the curb, don't hit the curb. Oh my gosh, there's a pole there, don't hit the pole. So I'm repeating this over and over again in my head, and my handlebars are just right. I'm riding directly into this hazard that I saw, and I'm getting a bit scared, like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna hit it. And then at the I'm talking like within a meter of hitting this curb, I'm like, oh fuck, don't look at the thing that you don't want to hit. And I'm very grateful that all of the training and, doing the motorcycle classes that I'd done, it popped into my head eventually, like, don't fucking look at the thing that you don't want to hit. So I go, oh, okay, turn your head and look at the direction where you want to go. So I'm narrowly avoiding this curve. I'm very narrowly avoiding this light pole. And I escaped with my life and my motorcycle, nothing as much as even a dent on anything. But it was really scary, and I was a brand new rider. So I didn't, you never kind of go into that situation being like, oh, I'm going to look at something and make a bad decision. But it just happened, and I'm really glad that it did, because it really drilled into my brain, like, look where you want to go, look in the direction you want to go, even if it's not ahead of you. Like, you'll be looking, you'll be, as I got better at riding, I started riding up and down the Minnesota River and Mississippi River, and I was obsessed. It's still my favorite place to ride, still after all these years. And it's like, when you're going around curves, you have to look as far across like along the curve as you can look, because that's what you're shooting for. And by looking in that direction, that's where you're going to go, simply because of the act of putting your eyes on it. And there's so many things that happen as we look in the direction we want to go. The mechanics are actually really interesting. As I was thinking about this, it's kind of like a head, shoulders, knees, and toes kind of vibe. So as you're looking in the direction that you want to go, you turn your head, you're turning your chin, and then that's changing the direction of your neck. It's also going to automatically shift your shoulders quite naturally. These are like micro movements that you're not even aware of. It shifts your shoulders in that direction as well, which is then going to shift your arms in that direction. And then what are your arms and hands holding on to? You're holding on to the handlebars. So you're all sort of automatically shifting in that direction that you're going without even trying, simply because you made a decision to look at that end goal. And this is what we're doing. It's very subtle, but it happens very naturally, and it kind of feels like magic. If you're listening to this and you ride motorcycles, you'll be like, oh yeah, no, like, I know exactly how that happens. And it's really fun, and it feels like very flowy, because you'll be like in a state of going where you want to go without even trying. But here's what I was doing wrong looking back when I almost crashed my motorcycle. What I was doing wrong was, like, I was target fixating. So what this means in the motorcycle world is you're staring at something in your vision, in your line of sight, too long, and you're getting obsessed with it. That's the fixating part. You're getting too obsessed, and simply by looking at that, you're basically locking on, and your body is going to also shift in that direction. So that's what I was doing wrong. I was also saying to myself, don't hit the curb, don't hit the pole, don't hit the curb, don't hit the pole. And what did I do? I rode my motorcycle, I rode my cute little dirt bike right in to that hazard until the very last second. So really, put simply, you're going to get what you think about repeatedly. And as I was telling myself, that's what I was doing, because I was journeying into that. So I love the saying, if you've heard it, where focus goes, energy flows. And that was certainly the case in this situation. And I think on a global scale, we have this everywhere in our life. Like, we think so much, so intensely, with so much emotion about the shit that we don't want to happen. Like, all we're thinking about is the light post. And when we think about that, we're eventually going to get that, even though we super badly really want to avoid it. So think about, like, if you've ever thought about, lack and scarcity, you might be thinking, oh, I don't have enough money in my bank account. I don't have enough money in my bank account. I'm so stressed about money. I'm so stressed about money. There's never enough money. These might be thoughts that are like, we play in our head. And I've done that for years. And you're like stuck in that scarcity mode because, like, you don't want that. But then because that's all you're thinking about, then it gets worse because you're focusing on it. And then you're thinking more about money, and then you have more money problems, and it seems to snowball. but it all starts in our mind. And then it's also kind of a thing of like, well, you could be thinking that way. Or on the other hand, are you thinking like good things are always going to happen? Like you're thinking, I am blessed. You're thinking, oh, I always get what I want. These are things where we're, keeping our eyes on the horizon and looking where we want to go and feeling good because of it and moving our body naturally in the direction of it. So you might be focused on what can go wrong, or you'll be focused on what can go right. But what are your expectations? This is something that is important to think about. A lot of it comes up in our language as well. And you might be listening to this thinking like, oh, Mel, you're you're oversimplifying this way too much. That's never going to work. Positive thinking is total bullshit. But think about like a situation in your life right now where you're not 100% satisfied. And I've done this lately is yeah, maybe your bank account isn't where you want it to be, or maybe your career isn't where you want it to be. Like, what are your prevailing thoughts in that area? It might be like, there's never enough money, I can't pay my bills again, but maybe we're expecting that we won't be able to pay our bills. So that's what we're moving towards. We're not focusing on the other side of things. If it's your career, you might be thinking, well, oh, someone always gets the promotion over me. I never get the promotion. And then that might be something that is changing how you behave in that work environment that leads to not getting that promotion. And then think about whatever that situation is, if it's not career, if it's not money, whatever that situation is, like, do those thoughts line up with that source of dissatisfaction in your life? I recently was talking to someone and they were telling me that through their work, they were kind of nominated, volunteered to take a month off of vacation. They were being forced to take a vacation, essentially, a month-long paid vacation, because they had too much like annual leave accrued. But the way this person was telling me was like they were disappointed, they were annoyed, and they were just kind of venting about it. And I was like, oh, what? You get to take a month of vacation? Like, that sounds pretty amazing to me. I don't know about anyone listening, but like, sign me up. And anyway, this person is like super bummed, really annoyed. And I was like, oh, that's interesting. Like, how do you feel about that? Because, I was excited, but I could tell that they weren't. And they were just bummed out. They were annoyed. They were kind of like, well, I wish I didn't have to. And I was like, "Oh, well, I mean, yeah, you could focus on the thing of, oh, someone's making me do this. I don't want to do this. How annoying, what a burden." Or we could think like, as I was thinking, this is an amazing opportunity for rest and relaxation and quality time with friends and family, like, and you're getting paid because it's like leave that you've saved up. So the negative attitude is impacting probably how that person's going to have a vacation, and they're probably going to have a shit time because that's the attitude that they're going into it with. So that's basically their light post, their curb that they don't want to go to, but that's what they're going to go to because of um what the situation is. So like the situation is identical, but because there's this resulting experience is defined by what they're focusing on, then that's what they're going to get. And I think about this all the time. What we think about repeatedly is what we're going to get. And I have really worked on the thoughts that I think, like literally inside my head, the thoughts that I think about situations, about my day to day life. And instead of thinking like, oh, fuck this again, or this is so annoying again, oh, here we are again, today's going to be XYZ, and really reframing that to be like, okay, well, just because it was in the past, like today I expect good things to happen. And when we're thinking it in the context of riding motorcycles, like by looking where you want to go when you ride motorcycles, your body is subconsciously moving in that direction without even trying, without any effort at all. And by keeping our eyes locked on, if we're looking at the road in front of us, if we're looking like literally down where our wheel is, we're not going to see shit, and it's going to be really dangerous because we're not going to have time to respond to anything that comes our way. But if we're keeping our eyes up, you have plenty of time, you know where you're going, you can anticipate something that might pop up in your journey, but it's not going to change ultimately your end game. It just is going to change the route that you decide to take. So it doesn't matter what is like exactly beneath you, because all that matters is where you're going. So we're keeping our eyes up, we're looking at the outcome and not staring down, because that is gonna cause problems. And, as I've been off my motorcycle for 5 months now, which has been a learning lesson, I'm going to keep that positive. So as I've been as I've been off my motorcycle, I've been focusing a lot in other areas of my life. I'm cleaning up my finances, I'm getting things tight. I'm investing again. That's been really fun. I'm recording my podcast twice a week now, which I'm super excited about. Integrating creativity into my life in new ways that I haven't done before. I'm fucking moving my body. That's something else that I've been focusing on, instead of being like the other, if I'm not moving my body, I'm likely going down like a bad mental health state. So I'm thinking I'm keeping that goal in the end, because I want to be able to show up with that abundance overflowing. I'm helping and inspiring millions of women all over the world. That is what I choose to believe. And I know it's happening. And I'm committing to staying happy and healthy for myself and showing up well for those that I care about most, because fucking that's what life is about. Okay, shifting gears. Next stop, I wanted to give you a house update. Ding, ding, ding. Okay, so you've been following this journey. We bought a house, first time ever. And we so we signed all the documents last week. And where are we at? So we've done all the loan stuff. That's all clean. So basically, we're just waiting one more month, like a calendar month, until we get the keys, which I'm stoked. But so something I wanted to say was, we signed the loan documents and the contract. And I did just want to put it out there, because this is something that, I've always done, but I think it's important to say that it's really important to read all of the fine print, for better or worse. And also, I think people go, fucking fine print, that's annoying. Literally, it's like size 8 font. It's so little and it's time consuming. And there might be terms that I don't understand, but I'm going to research them and I'm going to read that shit until I know it and I integrate it and I know what it's saying. Because it actually, so the contract, right? I want to tell you specifically. What I learned is contracts are malleable. So if someone gives you a contract, you're buying something, whatever, you're selling something, you get the contract, that's like a living document. It doesn't until you sign it. So don't sign it, okay, until you are like at the end of the journey. But these contracts are malleable. You can change them if you want to, because they're designed to protect you and also the other party or parties involved. So for example, I was reading the contract and I was like, oh, what can I add to juice it up a bit for us? What can I add to make this like more attractive for us and beneficial for us, because we're the buyers? And I was like, oh, what did I say? I said to our lawyer, I was like, well, there was one of the windows had a crack in it, and I don't really want to deal with that after we settle. That's just going to be a pain in the ass and literally the last thing I'm going to want to do. Can we add that to the contract that the owner has to fix it? And she was like, oh, yeah, no, definitely we can add that. And then I was like, well, I don't want the deal to fall over. It's not a deal breaker, but like, what are the chances that we can slot this in and the other party is going to be cool with it? She's like, cool, let me make a phone call. Makes the phone call, gets back to me. Hey, actually, no, they're totally down for that. Give me an hour and I'll sort of type up the correct verbiage and then put it back in the contract. Boom, that's like thousands of dollars that we saved. There was just like a sweet little cherry on top. And more than the money, like I just didn't want to fuck with it, to be real. I didn't. And that was a really fun thing. I think it's also something I learned with these contracts is like, don't outsource your power in reading these documents. Like, it's really easy to click the DocuSign and be like, click, 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 sign, sign, sign. But it's really important and also really empowering, I find, to read them, understand them, but then be like, okay, what else is there here? Like, is there an opportunity for me to juice things up, to make it a bit more attractive? And that was just really important. So, and don't even be like, oh, you read it for me, or even to outsource this to be like, oh, this person's a lawyer. They said it looks good, so I'll sign it. No, I think everyone needs to read their own shit and don't outsource that power, because ultimately, if you're buying, if you're selling, like, you need to know what's going on. Read that fine print. Ask questions about terms and things you don't understand. Put it into Google at the very least. But always take time. So the other house update piece that I wanted to add is, okay, now that all that paperwork stuff is done, we are moving into packing mode. Okay. Last time we packed up a house was when we moved from Minnesota to Australia in 2022, like literally 2 weeks after the Australian borders reopened after COVID. Okay. This is the last time we moved a house. But I want to say the difference is, back then we had 6 months. We gave ourselves 6 months to sell and or give away everything we owned. We moved to Australia with like a shipping, not even it was like a pallet of belongings, mostly camping gear and motorcycle gear, like helmets and jackets. We did have to sell our motorcycles, which was very traumatic for me. I don't even want to think about it, but it was really sad when I had to sell my BMW K75, which was just such a beauty. But this time around, now that we're packing up, I'm like, we get to keep our stuff. What do you mean? So all we have to do is put our shit in boxes and bags and move it 5 minutes down the road. So I'm really grateful for that. We have kids now, so that means we just have more things to pack. We have other children, we have children's belongings to pack, which is really no biggie. But I did want to know, what are your best packing or decluttering tips? Because I am asking everybody this. So send me your best packing and decluttering tips on Instagram, or comment on the YouTube video, or comment on the Spotify if that's where you're listening. My Instagram is @MelissaHussong. And just let me know, what are we doing? What are we doing to pack? Do you prefer boxes? Do you prefer bags? Anything. What are you keeping? What are you getting rid of? What am I gonna unpack in the new house that I'm gonna regret packing? I'm also very excited for a new beginning. There's always, with manifestation teachings, it's like you create a vacuum before you can have more abundance in your life. And with this, I'm just excited to like declutter, create that vacuum. The house is going to be bigger, so there's already going to be a vacuum, and getting really pumped for all that cool abundance that's coming. Pumped. Okay. Shifting gears, the next stop is, what is giving me freedom this week? Okay, this week we are vibing out with intention. We are vibing out. We're being relaxed. We're enjoying ourselves. We're setting the mood. We're getting in the vibe of who we are and just loving it. Okay, so I'm going to tell you how I'm doing this. I am setting my alarm 45 minutes before my children wake up, usually, depending on the day. Today they woke up before I woke up, so that was a thing. But I'm waking up early. But here's the thing, key part of vibing out for me, I'm waking up early and I'm doing nothing. I'm waking up early and I'm having 45 minutes of unstructured time to vibe out. I'm having unstructured time. I'm vibing out. And what does that look like? Well, for sure, it looks like drinking hot coffee, like drinking hot coffee, loving it, sitting in my bed, laying my head back, drinking a hot coffee, chilling. I might be visualizing my day ahead. What else do I do? I might just be closing my eyes, doing a little meditation. We are vibing out, okay? It's so nice not to have anywhere to be, anyone screaming at me, crying at me, no email notifications, just vibing, unstructured time. What else? I mean, that's literally all I do. I'm not even doing I can't even tell you what I do in that time because it goes quickly. I'm drinking my coffee, I'm chilling in bed, I got my sockies on, I got my PJs on, yummy pillows, and we're vibing. I might read like a spiritual book. I'll just like flip through the pages and be like, that's the page that has a message for me. I'll read that page. And that's really it. We're vibing, okay? Another way that I'm continuing to vibe out as my morning progresses. So the kids wake up, I'm doing breakfast. I'm like, we need to continue the vibes. So I'm putting on records and I'm really enjoying that. My fave at the moment, which I love because you can really belt these songs out. It is like back to back a sides, B sides. You can belt these out at the top of your lungs, and it's really fun. Dionne Warwick, Valley of the Dolls soundtrack. Now, I don't even know what the Valley of the Dolls movie was about, but the soundtrack is so fucking good. They're mostly love songs, but they're very loud, they're very fun, they're very emotional. And I just belt it out. I shake off that stagnant energy from waking up and I'm just in the moment. I'm vibing out, I'm singing. My kids are kind of like, what are you doing? But I'm having fun. I'm keeping it lighthearted. And that is helping me get to that next vibration. And it sets me up for a really fun day. And I also enjoy the freedom of kind of being in the moment and being silly. I think just in being silly and doing what you feel like doing in the moment is like very freeing instead of overthinking it, or being serious or thinking, oh no, like that's not appropriate or that's silly, that's stupid stuff. I'm just like, I'm just doing what I feel. I'm singing that chorus. I'm singing it loud. I'm doing very dramatic hand movements. Okay. It's very fun. Okay. And that is where I'll hit the kill switch today. I'll catch you on the next episode of Full Time Freedom. Ride safe. Love you. Bye.